Let me know when it's live. Here we go. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another show. And look who we have. Look who we have back in the office. It's Doc, everyone. How was your vacation, guys? How
Much
was it?
needed, much needed vacation. Yeah, three weeks off. Got to spend it back in the hometown. Back in Florida now, though, so we're chilling in the warm weather.
Jealous. But hey, it's good to have you back. Don't have to do this solo anymore. I was missing you, man. I was missing you. But hey, we here for week 17 for your championship week. Hopefully, we can get you some insider thoughts of what we think is the best option for you guys, and just kind of go from there. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask away because we have the chat working this time.
Absolutely. So we're gonna do start 'em, sit 'em for you, but we have a little bit different format this week.
Yes.
So we're not gonna do 3 starts, 3 sits, 3 sleepers. Not this week. We're gonna give you something a little. We gotta spice it up. You know, we gotta have a little fun with a little week 17. If you're in the championship, we're gonna have a little fun. So we're gonna do 2 starts, 2 sits per position.
Oh,
Yeah. So we'll
I don't
give you
think they're ready.
QBs, we'll give you running backs, we'll give you wide receivers, we'll give you tight ends. And if you're lucky, we might even throw in a couple defenses.
Oh, look at that. You know, I think they deserve it after this long season, especially these up and down season with all these injuries too. So, but we're going to get right into it. I don't know. Do you want to talk a little bit about the game last night with the Cowboys and the Lions?
Yes. Interesting ending. I've gotten a couple
Yes.
texts from some people about it already. As you know, we're both Cowboy fans. Please disregard his Colts hoodie he has on. But no, we are Cowboys fans, so glad of the outcome. Not entirely sure about how we got there.
Yeah.
So I was super confused last night watching the game. 2-point conversion. I'm like, game's over. 21-20, 23 seconds left. Game's over. And then they called it back. And they just said illegal touching, but there wasn't a lot more to it. And upon further review, apparently number 68 was who caught the ball, was not who talked to the referees. Number 70 was. Number 70 said, I am an eligible receiver. I will be the one basically downfield. And the refs were like, okay, number 70, if he's downfield, great. Number 68 was downfield, though, and he's the one that caught the ball. So there's no way to verify this information because it's hearsay. It's the refs saying we were the ones talked to about it, and that's illegal. No one else can see it or even say anything about it. So interesting ending.
It's the refs that got the money on the game, guys.
Yeah, dude. Jerry Jones, I mean, greatest fixer of games ever. That's
I
great.
mean, he didn't, use his money wisely during the season to get any guys. So he had to pay the refs somehow, right?
That is true. Yeah, we have a lot of cap money to spend on the refs.
Yes,
So-
correct. Or Stephon Diggs next year. Who knows?
Yeah, I think the Cowboys aren't really. They don't look great going into some tough games. So
Very concerning, but also for the Lions, that was a big loss just because if they would have won that, they would have had home field advantage the first game. They could have, honestly, if they would have won out and the 49ers would have lost one game, they would have had the number 1 seed in the NFC.
yeah,
So that's a big loss for them. I could see why they're
that is
mad.
crazy.
But, all right, enough of that. We can talk about our actual opponents and our actual guys that we are picking for this week for our starts. And we'll start in the QB realm here. If you want to start your stardoms, I know you got a couple guys that you'd like to talk about.
Yeah, I think I'll just start with my major one here. I have Jake Browning, who I added to my team before he started in Cincinnati. And I ended up dropping him after the first week, just thinking he's going to be a bust after a decently, iffy game. And that second week, he came back and just destroyed. But the reason I'm adding him now is more of like a continue it out the rest of the playoffs. So if you're in the championship and you have the next 2 weeks to play against an opponent, I feel like Kansas City is good. Cleveland is a little tough. So that back half is going to be tough for him. But I think this week at Kansas City's fallen. I am not impressed with what's happening at Kansas City. I think Patrick actually wants out. But their defense doesn't look super great. They give up a decent amount of points to quarterbacks. And honestly, if Jamar Chase is playing, just get the ball to Jamar Chase, get the ball to Joe Mixon. Hopefully they're able to get that ball moving a little bit more. And you can get Jake Browning. I mean, it's possible to get 350, 400 yards with Jake Browning just because he just needs to be a field general. Just throw it to the guys that's open, check down, 5-yard line, let them run.
Yep.
So I think if you're on edge on quarterback, you have someone like Trevor Lawrence who's not playing, it's someone to throw in instead. So.
Yep, 100% agree. I think Browning will have a pretty decent game actually against the Chiefs. I mean, he's been clicking. There's of course been a few games that he's kind of been iffy on, but I feel like the Bengals especially, they have to win this game, and so do the Chiefs. But the Chiefs are going to be in the playoffs already, but the Bengals, they're playing for this is a playoff game for them. So they're going to come out, and I could see the upset. I could see it.
It's possible.
All right, who do you got for your other stardom?
Yeah, we'll throw in, I think, Justin Fields here. Let me pull him up on my phone real quick just to get the up-to-date info here for you. So Justin Fields going into Atlanta this week, not in Atlanta, mind you. That's a big point with the Falcons because the Falcons play great at home and they suck on the road. And Justin Fields, I believe, is a good quarterback. I really do.
Yep.
I think he's a good quarterback for a really awful team. There's certain situations in which he does overthrow his receivers by 5 to 6 yards. But I think that's also a product of the offensive line. I think the Bears should go heavy in the offensive line in the draft. They have some higher up picks, so I think they should use those for skilled players first. Like the very first pick needs to be a skilled player, but the rest need to be O-line.
Yep.
Because they need to protect Justin Fields. But last week he had 15 completions, 27 attempts. He had 24.5 fantasy points against Arizona. Like I said, they're playing Atlanta at home at Soldier Field. He plays well at Soldier Field. The Falcons play bad away. I think it's a good mix here. I think DJ Moore's in for a big game. Little aside to a future start here in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But also carrying into that last week, they also play Green Bay. I'm not high on Green Bay. I'm kind of iffy on them. So me and you were surprised today that Jordan Love is the 6th overall best quarterback in fantasy. So if you had Jordan Love, interesting season for you. But I think Justin Fields is up for mid-20s points again. He's only done it a couple times this season. I think 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then hit a 30-point game once.
Yeah.
But I think he'll do it again. So again, if you have someone like Trevor Lawrence on your team who's out this week, Justin Fields is a good person to throw in there.
100% agree. 100% agree. Now, I like Justin Fields and I get it because it's going to be hard for the Bears to run against the Falcons just because the Falcons' defense for the rush is unbelievable. So Fields is going to have to throw it through the air. But I honestly think Fields will have more rushing yards than their running backs this game. And that's currently why I have him as one of my starting quarterbacks in one of my leagues, just because of the fact that I love his play-making ability.
Yeah.
So nice.
Agreed.
But, all right, I'll go with my stardoms here now. I got C.J. Stroud as my start. I am finally happy that he is back. I am a big C.J. Stroud fan. I think he has a very promising future, especially in Houston. He has the wide receivers. He has Collins back in the lineup now, and Noah Brown, and Dalton Schultz. So, I mean, I feel like he's going to tear apart this Titans defense. And one thing you got to know about C.J. Stroud is that he plays so much better at home than he does away. And guess what? It's a home game. Now, being a Colts fan, I kind of wish that they would lose just for the fact that it would help the Colts in the playoffs, especially if the Colts lose to the Raiders this week. But CJ Stroud, I can't put it past the man. He's going to have a great game. If you need a quarterback and you're still in the championship, he is the one that if you have him or Mahomes, to be honest with you, I'm going to put CJ Stroud over Mahomes. Especially just how Mahomes has been this year. Just my thought. But yeah, enough with CJ. Let's go with Matthew Stafford now, because this man, not just this man, but this team has been on a roll at the right time. The Rams are unbelievable here as of late, and Matthew Stafford has been having 20-point fantasy games his last 3 out of 4 games. So I honestly think he will have another one here this week. And I think he is clicking at the perfect time, because he's also going up against the New York Giants, which are 27th to the quarterback, guys. They are not the best secondary team. So if you have any wide receivers as well, like I've talked about in the waiver earlier this week with Demarcus Robinson, it's another kind of one to look out for, because all these wide receivers, I feel like, for the Rams are going to go off this game. And I think Matthew Stafford will have a phenomenal game once again this week. But
yeah,
yes,
I like both those picks.
Yep.
I think CJ Stroud's in again for a huge game. And again, talking later in the show, Nico Collins is going to be in for a big game.
Absolutely.
When they're clicking, they're clicking. And again, Matthew Stafford has some of the best people in the league to throw the ball to. He's got Kupp out there. He's got Puka. He's got Kyren to check down. They have a crazy team. They just haven't put it together this year, with Stafford being hurt a decent amount. So the fact that when they're all together, all healthy, they're a championship team as per a couple of years ago.
I have a question just on that topic. Who would you pick for your rookie of the year this year between CJ Stroud and Puka?
I think CJ Stroud.
You think so?
I'm gonna give it to CJ Stroud. Puka's done some great things, but Puka has been thrown the ball by Matt Stafford.
Yeah, that's true
as well.
That's true.
And I feel like for a wide receiver to win it, you have to have crazy numbers.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous numbers. And Puka has awesome numbers, but not absolutely insane. He slowed down when Cooper Kupp came back, which just shows that the value in distribution between the two isn't always sustainable. Mm-hmm. But speaking about CJ Stroud, he went into a team that was absolutely dog water and who was expected to win like 2 games and put a possible playoff team together. Yeah. I mean, that is like Nico Collins, Tank Dell. Who are these people? And they're getting crazy fantasy value because of CJ Stroud alone. So I think it's CJ Stroud hands down.
I could see that, yeah. And that's kind of where I'm kind of like, I don't know which one I should pick, because Puka is literally like, I think 200 yards away from like the rookie receiving record. But at the same time, I think CJ Stroud has done a lot more for his team.
That's what I think I ask myself. For rookie of the year, not only your stats, but do you make everyone else better around you? Yeah. Puka, the answer is no, because he absorbs all the value himself, which is fine. I mean, that's great. That's MVP type. Yep. But it's not the whole picture together here. CJ Stroud makes everyone else better. Tank Dell's value is high because of CJ Stroud, and it dips when he's out. Correct, so everyone else's value is high around CJ Stroud. So that's why I give it to him.
Fair enough. All right, let's go through our sit-ems for our QBs.
Beautiful. To start off, my worst team in the NFL, the team that I hate talking about, the team that I absolutely loathe, and I'm glad I'm talking about him because it's a sit. QB Bailey Zappi. Did I say it right? Is that good for you?
Yes, you did.
Okay. I want to say Zap, but
I know.
It's fine. Zappy.
Yep.
I hate the New England Patriots, number one. Okay.
Retweet.
Just start there. He had a decent game last week. Granted, he was going up against Denver, had a passer rating of 117, so awesome game for him.
Yep.
Only 16 fantasy points though, with all that QBR. with 76% passing percentage, and he's only getting 16 points. So he does not have fantasy value for me, okay? And looking at his schedule coming up, he plays Buffalo this week and the Jets next week. No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't want any piece of that. So any other quarterback other than him, thank you, Lord. I will take that. The only person of value on that team is Ezekiel
Say
Elliott.
it. There it is. Yes.
That's the only person of value on that team because he's the only person that has skill on that team. So,
and I believe Stevenson is out again once this week. So if you have Elliott, that's another one to be aware on and watch because he goes up against the Bills, and last time he played the Bills, he had about 18 fantasy points. So
yeah, but the Bills are better though. The Bills
that is true.
This week are not the Bills to start the season. Like they are not. The Bills to start the season, I mean, we talked about Cook couldn't even hold on to the ball.
Yeah.
And he was getting benched like crazy. It was painful to watch actually.
And then he runs up 200 some or damn near 200 some yards on freaking Dallas.
Yeah.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah, amen. Yeah,
All
this points into my second one, which I'm pulling up on my phone here, is Aiden O'Connell. I think it's another sit. They got the Colts this week. He had a really bad game last week. He had a passer rating of 50 with 2 fantasy points. Only had 62 yards passing. I mean, really bad against Kansas City. So, I mean, what does that tell you? They won the game, and look at the result. He still's not putting up fantasy points.
And the thing for him, I feel like he just gets pressured, and when he gets pressured, he can't run away from it. And the Colts are like one of the best in the NFLs at pressuring the quarterback.
Yep.
So that's why I'm super excited for the Colts this weekend. But at the same time, or today, I guess. But at the same time, it gets me nervous because every time the Colts need a freaking win, we blow it.
That's true. Yeah, I like his schedule. I like that he's on the sit part for the schedule coming up.
Yes.
Because Indy and Denver puts up a lot of points, but I don't know. I still don't think he's going to put it up against Denver again.
Correct.
I don't see him repeating any of these numbers against the Denver defense. So, what are your sits?
So sits, I got Tua for my first sit. Now, he is going up against, personally, I think, the number one defense in the league with the Baltimore Ravens. And guess what? It's at the Ravens. It's going to be hard to win there. Now, he will have better fantasy value, I think, than what Brock Purdy had against the Ravens, just due to the fact that he still got Tyreek Hill on your team. Now, Waddle is out this week, which is a big hit. So you only got to focus on one fast guy instead of 2 fast guys. You just got to pay attention though to the backfield. But Tua, I think it's just going to be too much to handle in Baltimore this weekend. It'd be nice to see him prove me wrong, but Baltimore's defense is on another mission right now and trying to get to that Super Bowl. So I think Tua is just it's a hard one to play if you have to play him, of course, but if you can play someone else, play someone else. And then my last sit would be Jacoby Brissett. That is right. We're talking about Jacoby instead of Sam Howell that got benched. Like you and I were talking about Newport, the guy has one of the most passing yards in the league and gets benched. But Jacoby Brissett, when he came in against the Jets, led the team back and almost got that win. If the Jets didn't kick the field goal at the last second. Mm-hmm. And I feel like with Brissett under center, at least during that Jets game, it is a different feel with that team. I feel like they were moving the ball down the field a lot more, especially against the number one secondary team in the league against the Jets. But I don't see it happening this weekend against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I know the 49ers have don't have a great secondary defense, but I don't think it's going to matter because I see Bosa and Chase Young getting in the backfield against the Commanders and making.
And it's horrible. I think this Jacoby Brissett also kills the value for Terry McLaurin, and we'll talk about that again later in the show. But
correct.
It's a no-brainer for me. That's a sit.
Yep. All right, yeah. We'll move our way from quarterbacks now to our running backs with our stardoms. I will go first on this one. And the first stardom I have is Jonathan Taylor. My man. My man, oh my man, my man. Hey, you can't hate on Jonathan Taylor, okay?
Ooh.
It's facts. It's facts.
Okay.
It just is.
All right. Chill.
Yeah, you
Chill.
back off, okay?
Chill.
Back off.
Chill.
No, but Jonathan Taylor is going up against a pretty weak running defense from the Raiders. Now I know the Chiefs didn't really exploit them last week, but as well as they didn't really run the ball too much last week. But because all they had was Allaire, and that's about it. Chiefs running backs are just injured all the time. So unfortunately for them, I feel like if Pacheco didn't get injured that game, I feel like he could have had a phenomenal game. But now it's time for Jonathan Taylor to show up, and we need him to show up this week as a Colts fan. If he doesn't show up, I have a bad feeling about this game. But I truly think Jonathan Taylor can have his best game of the season today against the Raiders. If you have any thoughts on that.
I don't know. I don't necessarily agree this season. I haven't seen a lot from Jonathan Taylor that I'm super impressed by. And Saquon Barkley falls into that same list for me. They both have tons of talent, but I don't know. I'm not super impressed by the things around them or what they've done this season. So I hope he can do well. I mean, I'm not opposed to the Colts. I like the Colts, but I want them to do well.
Yep.
So,
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. And another start I have is DeAndre Swift. He's going against the worst, I repeat, the worst running defense in the league, the Arizona Cardinals. So that's all I'm going to say with that. Because I have a feeling, especially with the Eagles, they're going to get up big against, or I should say they should get up big against the Cardinals, and then they're just going to run the ball. So I feel like Swift is going to get a lot of carries and touches today, and he should find the end zone as well, I think. Unless he gets down at the 1 yard line, then you know what's going to happen. But I feel bad for the man. A lot of running backs are like, yes, I'll finally get ready to score. Not with the Eagles. Tush push all the way.
That's a good transition to my list because I have DeAndre Swift on my team, and this morning I benched DeAndre Swift for my guy that I'm putting in right now. I think DeAndre Swift's gonna have a big game. Don't get me wrong. Arizona Cardinals, 32nd and run, they don't know what to do. So DeAndre Swift, big game coming. If you have him, start him.
Yep.
I'm not starting him for the sole reason of I will be starting Achane for the Dolphins.
And
because as of this, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it literally just came through as like 2 minutes ago that Moser is officially inactive today.
Perfect. And that is where I was going with that. Yep. So Mostert's gone. And if you're like, oh, hey, Doc, come on. Since his injury, he hasn't had great points. I mean, look at his fantasy value. For the last 3 weeks, 12 points, 9 points, 4 points. Like, what are you doing? This isn't the same Achane as it was when he was healthy back in the day. Well, look at this. Mostert's out. What's been the problem the last 3 weeks? 7 attempts, 9 attempts, 7 attempts rushing. Jesus Christ himself in the backfield isn't getting fantasy value with 7 attempts. Okay? I mean, it's just not enough. All right? Yeah. Look at when he had 17 attempts against Washington. He got 2 touchdowns and 25 fantasy points. When he had 18 attempts, he had 200 yards and 51 fantasy points. So when he has the attempts, he does big things.
Correct.
And even from Tyreek Hill himself, Tyreek Hill is worried about winning a race with Achane, okay? Because Achane is extremely fast. Also, I think Ethan Bonner should probably be on the Dolphins and pull up from the practice squad because he's also extremely fast.
Just put him out in like the slot and just make him like throw bubble screen to him. Just let him take off.
Exactly. So Achane, I am starting over Swift on my team for that sole fact because I am in love with the fact that he might get a ton of attempts today, and I hope he does because I think they have a good play this week. I mean, I'm excited. It's the Ravens, granted, However, I'm in.
Speed wins on a lot of these on a lot of these games. It don't matter if you're the best defense or not. If you get in the outside, you're not catching them.
Yep.
So
Speed wins.
speed
That moves
wins.
into my last stardom for running backs, and that is a guy that I traded to Derek, I believe. I traded to you.
Yep.
And that's James Conner, who's given you awesome fantasy value.
He is.
Awesome fantasy value. So last 3 weeks, he's had 22 fantasy points, 18 fantasy points, and another 22 game. So he's put up awesome numbers recently. And he's going up against Philly, who is not amazing against the run, worse against the pass. But there's some holes in the Philly defense. Give me James Conner the rest of the season. Even at Seattle, give me James Conner. I think he's a workhorse for a team that doesn't have a ton of options outside of Kyler Murray running the ball as well. The fact that Kyler Murray is back increases the value of James Conner because you have to worry about Kyler Murray's feet going the other direction.
Correct.
If I was the Cardinals, I'd run nothing but options and triple options because how do you stop it against two guys like that? So give me James Conner. You're welcome for that trade. And
hey, I appreciate it.
Yeah, that moves us into your running back sit-ups.
Yeah. So,
Also, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So I have Herbert. Now, I'm just going to say this just to say this. I'm just going to say the Bears any running backs from the Bears bench this week. I don't care if it's Herbert or Foreman or Freeman or who else is Johnson. Bench them all. I mean, you're going up against one of the best running defenses in the league in the Atlanta Falcons. So just know that it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, and I feel like the quarterback is going to have a lot more running yards than his running backs are this game. So that is one team to stay clear from. Any running back, like I said, from the Bears, stay clear from this week. I feel like there's not going to be a lot of upside to them. So,
yep, yeah. I agree with that. I think Herbert's an okay back, but
yep.
I don't think big value's coming.
Correct. And then my other sit-em is A.J. Dillon. Yeah, he is not doing too hot anymore. I know Adam Jones is back, or Aaron Jones, sorry, Adam Jones. Aaron Jones is back, but he's also going up against a Vikings team, and they've somewhat kind of come back to play when it comes to the run. Now, the passing game is a little bit different. They're not the best against the pass, but the run, they're a lot more efficient. So A.J. Dillon, if you have him, I would not play him at all unless you completely have to. But A.J. Dillon is a must-sit for me just due to the fact I don't see him doing a lot against the Vikings front line. So,
yeah, don't have much to say about him. Jones is better.
Correct. Absolutely.
Jones is better. That's all I got to say about that.
A lot more completions from him, too. So A.J. Dillon don't get a lot of those passes at all.
Yeah. So that moves into my sit-ems for running backs. I'm going to start off with Jaylen Warren. I will say if you're in a PPR league, you benefit more than in a standard, because standard he's gotten single digits for every week in the past ever. PPR, he touches double digits. Last week in Cincinnati, got 10 points. 2 weeks got 11 points against Indy. But he's just not – he doesn't have great value. And coming up, he's got the Seahawks. I just don't see a ton happening. I think the Steelers are on the down, especially with Mason Rudolph with his fingers in the taint. I just don't see it happening. I don't. I don't see Jaylen Warren or Najee Harris putting up value, especially against the Seahawks, because I think the Seahawks are better than what people make them out to be. They're that tough team. It's like trying to play Iowa in football. Like they're always gonna push you.
It's at home too, and then they're 12th man.
Yeah, it's like you may beat them, but they're gonna push you and hurt you the entire game. There's just teams like that, and that's the Seahawks right now.
Look what they did to the Eagles.
So that's Jaylen Warren for me. I'm not bought in. And then secondly, I have someone who might surprise you if you watch the show, if you're an avid watcher of D. Haynes and Doc here. First time I've ever put him on a sit here, and sorry to do this.
Very
because I think he's one of the best talents in the entire league. but it's Tyjae Spears. I don't think, and it's not him. It's not on him. This isn't on Tyjae Spears.
No.
This is on the Titans.
Yep.
Okay, and it's on Derrick Henry actually as well. He doesn't have the value in Tennessee right now because they're not starting him. Derrick Henry had a good week last week. I think he's going to continue it, meaning Tyjae's not going to get a lot of looks. When Tyjae gets looks, he's one of the most explosive backs in the entire league, but he's just not getting them. So fantasy value right now, not there. Sit him. I think hopefully next year in the offseason, he gets signed to a team to be the number one guy. There's a lot of teams that could use a number one guy like him and put up some awesome numbers. But right now, it's not happening. So
no, I think he'll be the future of the Titans. The thing is, though, is Derrick Henry going to move away from the Titans next year?
I don't see it.
It's just, it'd be weird to see him on a different team.
Yeah, I don't see it happening.
But I was going to say Colts, but we got Jonathan Taylor. I'm good with that. We got him back. All right, we'll move to the wide receivers now. I got, excuse me, losing my voice here. I got the first two stardoms here, and then we'll work with yours. So my first stardom is Rashee Rice. I am beyond thankful I picked this guy up early on in the year because he has shown out for me the past few, I'd say past 5 weeks, honestly. But he has a great opponent matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals, which are ranked 23rd against the wide receivers. So he has a good matchup here. I feel like he will be another top wide receiver go around. I mean, I'll just give you his fantasy value in his last 5 games. He got 24.7, 14.4, 18.2, 24.1, 11.7. And he has 3 touchdowns within those games. So he finds the end zone. Mahomes feels a lot more confident in him than any other wide receiver right now due to the fact of dropping balls, which are, it's crazy because they actually are they have the most drops of any team this season, which is crazy to me. But yeah, so great matchup with the Cincinnati Bengals, and I feel like he can exploit their defense pretty well. And Mahomes, I think, will find him multiple times. I mean, he was targeted 12 times against the Raiders, and 9 the time. I mean, the lowest target share that he's had within the last 5 games is 9. 9. PPR, that is a dub.
Yeah.
So definitely start him for sure. I don't know if you have anything on him or.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, Rashee Rice is good. I'm just not bought in on the Chiefs right now. I don't know. I feel like they have a lot of frustrations with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I think every week they just don't look the same anymore.
Yeah.
And they're mad at each other, which is kind of weird. So
I'm here for it.
I mean, I like the Chiefs. I like the Chiefs era. I'm waiting for that documentary in 10 years, but you know,
I'm sure there will be.
You know there will be for sure.
I'm sure there is. By the way, just in, Michael Pittman Jr. is upgraded to be an active now.
Nice.
Which now I'm talking about Michael Pittman Jr. Perfect timing. Look at this. He's going up against the Raiders. Not much to say other than it should be a lock for anyone that has Michael Pittman. He should be in your lineups this week. I don't care if the Raiders are 11th against the wide receivers. Put him in, especially with Gardner Minshew, because that is the number one wide receiver he looks at. It don't matter where he is, he will throw him the ball, which I love. I mean, he has 13 targets in Week 12, 16 targets in Week 13, 11 targets in Week 14, and then before he got injured and got pulled out of the game, he had 5 targets early on in the game already. So, man is a target machine. He had his least fantasy value actually in the last 5 games is 11.8. He's an average currently about 18 points in the last 4 games. So he's a must lock, I think, for anyone, especially this week since he's going to be back in the lineups.
Yeah, he's one of the most quiet, good receivers in the league. I don't think he gets the I don't think he gets the talk that he should.
And he gets those tough catches too. Like you throw it up to him and it just touches his glove, he's gonna catch it.
Yeah, I completely agree. That moves into my stardoms for wide receivers, and I have first Nico Collins. We told you we talk about this again.
Yep.
Nico Collins, when being thrown the ball by C.J. Stroud, has unbelievable numbers. Same with Tank Dell. C.J. Stroud is coming back. I'm bought in. Not much more to say about it. I don't even care who they're playing. I believe in C.J. Stroud, and I believe in Nico Collins catching the ball from him.
Yep.
The ability to get open when C.J.'s throwing the ball, it's there. So don't overthink it. Take Nico Collins. Anything
I'm right
for
there.
you there?
No, I'm right there with you. I mean, I have him in my lineups. He's a must lock this week, especially against a struggling secondary with the Titans. And with C.J. Stroud being back in the lineup, he loves himself some Nico Collins, especially with Tank Dell out. So,
Yep, that's true. And that moves into my second start. Again, a guy who we've talked about before, but I'm going to bring it up again. DJ Moore. So if you're looking at the last 2 weeks, 9.2 fantasy points, 4.8 fantasy points, you're wondering what's happening. Less targets than the weeks before, 8 and 6 targets. The 2 weeks before that had 13 and 10 targets. What's happening?
Yeah.
Like why that? It's a good question. It is a good question. I think DJ Moore is one of the best wide receivers in the league. I think these 2 weeks are an outlier for what's to come. He plays, again, Atlanta at home. Atlanta does not play well outside of Atlanta. And so I think he's in for a big game with Justin Fields behind center. Not much more to say about it. I think he's going to put up a 20-piece, and I think he's going to get 10 targets. I think he's going to be a focal point of the offense for that game. So.
Yep. And he does have an ankle injury from last week, but hearing some of his interviews, he heals extra. He heals. What was it? I'm trying to think of like his exact words. What he said, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was in a way like he heals like a god.
Yeah.
So he don't stay injured. We'll say that. So and plus he even came back into that game too after that ankle injury too, and tried to play on it and actually did pretty well. But yeah,
Right.
I'd agree with DJ Moore. He's going to have some targets down the field this game. All right, so our sit-ems now. So this sit-em I'm going to do is Drake London. I just don't see any value coming with him with Heineke at quarterback. I mean, the last few weeks he's not been having the best target shares. Now I know he went up against the Colts last week, and the Colts secondary is actually pretty good when it comes to the number one wide receivers because we got more. But Drake London, I just don't see much value the rest of the year, honestly, from him. Unfortunately, I think he would be great on other teams that have a decent quarterback, but it's just the quarterback play for the Falcons currently right now it's not to par to where it needs to be for him. The only game that he had a breakout game was against Tampa, and they had like one of the worst secondaries in the league.
Right. Not much else to say about that.
That's not the Colts.
Yeah.
Or it's not the Bears either. The Bears, actually, surprisingly, the Bears defense has been on lock these last 4 or 5 games, ever since they got Sweat.
Agreed.
Yep, and then I got Jacoby Myers. Ever since O'Connell's kind of been in under center, it's been tough to get him targets. I know the Chiefs game he didn't get too much as well, but of course no one really did. As you know, Devontae Adams got 1.4 fantasy points that game. So that was interesting. But this will be inside into a dome, so you won't have a 20-some-mile-an-hour wind like they did against Kansas City. But as well, the Colts are one of the top defenses on sacking the quarterback this year, and so I don't think O'Connell's going to have enough time to throw in the pocket as much as he wants to find those wide receivers down the field. The only way I can find Myers gaining some value against the Colts is in like jet sweeps or screen downs. But other than that, I would sit him this week.
Yep. I completely agree, and again, don't have much else to say about that one. Aiden O'Connell was on my sit, so
Yep.
Yeah, it moves into my sits for wide receivers. I have Jordan Addison, a guy that I had most of the year, traded away right before he started to tank. I think Jordan Addison is a great wide receiver, but without a good quarterback now, I don't think the value's there. I think
Kirk
Justin
Cousins,
Jefferson still has value. Justin Jefferson always will have value no matter who's behind because his ability to create space is unmatched. But I think Justin Jefferson will be the comfort zone for who's behind, who's the quarterback now. It's
Hall is starting this week.
Hall. That's right. I think Justin Jefferson will be the comfort zone for Hall, and I think he's probably just going to try and pepper Justin Jefferson. So I would stay away from Jordan Addison, especially with how he's been trending with quarterbacks that are not named Kirk Cousins.
Yep. I mean, I hope he does good. I like the man. He's definitely he has a bright future. Him and Flowers both, I feel like are kind of like the same guy almost.
Yeah, I do too.
Those like slot wide receivers that are just like small and quick, kind of like a Downs too.
Right.
It's like this rookie class is like small, quick receivers.
That's true. That is true. And my other sit-em is the Ohio State prospect, Scary Terry from Washington. Baby. So why Scary Terry? I don't think he's had the value that he has had in previous years. And the main reason for that is because his targets have started to kind of dip because of the quarterback situation. So I personally don't believe in Jacoby Brissett. I didn't like Brissett when the Colts decided that was their best option. I thought that was a ridiculous decision. So I don't think Jacoby Brissett's going to get him the ball. I really don't. I could see it happening. I could see it happening where he has a big game. I just don't. I'm not going to bet on it. So that's why he's my sit. If you have another guy that has a better floor, I would play him. Terry has a better ceiling than most people because he can get up there. You can have those crazy games where he just gets 17 targets and you're like, what the hell happened? But I would play a higher floor man than Terry right now because it's championship weekend. You don't want to do those
if, ands, or buts.
yeah, I don't want a high ceiling guy and a low floor in the championship. Give me a high floor guy in the championship because I want to put up consistent points and let the other guy try and reach and have a bad week because of it. So
correct. Yep. But yeah, we'll move into our tight ends now. Looks like you got your first two to talk about here.
Yeah, definitely. My first tight end is the tight end on my team, who I've been very surprised with, and one of the best values on draft day that I've had in a while. Because I have Evan Ingram, and I took Evan Ingram, 10th round, 11th round. It was extremely late.
Yeah.
Like very late. And he's been the position rank 6 for tight ends. So that value is awesome. He put up 17.5 points last week as a tight end. And you have a tight end you took 6th overall. That doesn't even have that value. So,
what are we doing here?
See what's happening. Yeah.
What are we doing?
The game's coming up. He plays Carolina. He plays the Titans. Both good matchups. I'm excited about it for my team being in the championship for our league. I know Derek's not in the championship, even in the winner's bracket, but should be, but I threw you out accidentally. Sorry. Yeah, he if he won against me the last game of the regular season, he would have been in, but I put up like 180 points or something.
Yeah, and I had a lot of people injured too, unfortunately, but I don't think it would have mattered. But at the same time,
you're welcome, Kevin, because I could have thrown you out. I hope you're watching, Kev. No, Carolina, Tennessee. I love the games coming up. Again, Trevor Lawrence is out, so it might hurt his value a little bit because last week he had 15 targets, and I don't think that's happening. But it could. Again, it could because we have Bethard behind the center. Yep. And if you remember how he played last year, he was decent. He's not horrible. Bethard is okay. And so I don't see Bethard throwing down the field a lot, which is good for the tight end because he's going to be sitting at that 5-yard line in the middle of the field. So hopefully they check down to him a lot for me and my fantasy team. But yeah, that's Evan Ingram. What do you think about him?
I think he's a great top 5, top 10 tight end in the league. I with Trevor Lawrence being under center, it helps a lot. Bethard, I know he'll find him because it's Evan Ingram. It's you've got to find him. He's better than some of these wide receivers on the team, and that's why he gets targeted more. So with being a backup quarterback, I feel like it kind of helps Evan Ingram a little bit, just due to the fact, like you said, dish downs. If you need to get away, he's going to be kind of sitting there waiting. So I feel like target share wise, it's a good fit for them this week.
Completely agree.
Well, and especially going up against Carolina too, because they're 4th against wide receivers in the league. Terrible team.
Very surprising.
Correct. Terrible team. But they're ranked 4th against wide receivers. So opens up a little bit for the tight end window.
Yeah, I agree. That moves into my last start for the tight ends, and that's McBride for the Cardinals, who, if you picked up on waivers, congratulations. Just great waiver work. That's impressive for you. No, he's done great, and he has a good relationship with Kyler Murray. He gets high targets in the 9s, in the double digits. He's the guy to play. They play Philadelphia. They play Seattle. Philadelphia just doesn't even look at the ball when it's in the air. They just let someone catch it. But he has crazy value for where he came from out of the waiver wire. He's ranked 8 amongst all tight ends, which is wild because he barely played at the beginning of the season. So to be sitting at 8, amazing fantasy value. Good schedule coming up. Start him. Don't even think about it.
Yep, absolutely, 100% agree with that. He's a tight end, but one of the best wide receivers on their team.
Yeah.
All right, so Isaiah Likely, definitely got to look at him. He's been a very high-end tight end since he's started with the Ravens. Just in week 14, he had 19.3 fantasy points. Week 15 against Jacksonville, he had 18. Now, he only had 8.6 last week, but that's also at San Francisco. They're pretty good against the tight ends. But I'd say average, I guess, against the tight ends. But they were also looking elsewhere and during that game. But this week against Miami ranks 14th against tight ends. Now, normally they were top 10 against tight ends here about a couple weeks ago, but they've kind of slacked a little bit since. So they have moved down in the rankings. Plus, being at the Ravens, I feel like Ravens going to have a pretty good game against Miami. They're going to have to come out and play strong because it decides on the number 1 seed. Actually, you know what? That would not be the case since the Ravens won last week. So either way, though, it's just the seeding right now it's too close in the AFC. So it's a playoff game for these guys, in an early playoff game. So I feel like Isaiah Likely is going to come out. He's going to get targets. He's gotten targets, 6+ targets in the last 3 games. I feel like he's going to get target once again here against the Dolphins, especially in the red zone. So look out for a touchdown from Isaiah Likely this week. And then Dalton Schultz. Oh, yeah, sorry, my bad.
Let me just say something real quick about that one. Yeah, I have Isaiah Likely on my team as well. So I have Evan Ingram and Isaiah Likely, and I'm starting Ingram over Likely, but it's close, man. It's extremely close. I think the Ravens have one of the highest powered offenses in total, and if you look at the color for the Super Bowl, it's purple and red. So it's going to be Ravens and 49ers. It's going to be Ravens and 49ers, 100%. 100%. I'm calling it now. Jerry Jones already made it happen. So
can we just say I called that in week 6?
You said Vikings, but
I did not say Vikings whatsoever. I promise.
You said maybe Vikings is
Oh,
purple.
just right now. I was just messing with you.
No, really, yeah.
Yeah, I was just messing. Don't worry.
Right.
Yeah, so then we'll move to Dalton Schultz going up against the Tennessee Titans. Last time they went up against the Titans, they didn't have C.J. Stroud, and he had 9.8 fantasy points, 58 yards, and 5 targets. I feel like now with C.J. Stroud back in the lineup, he might double that and actually get a touchdown because he has not had a touchdown in his last 4 games. So I think he's due. I think he'll be able to possibly get in the end zone against the struggling Tennessee Titans defense. And Dalton Schultz was actually the leading receiver last week with 61 yards. That's it against Cleveland. Now, they also played Cleveland, and Cleveland destroyed them. But look back for a rebound game for Schultz this week against the Tennessee Titans. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I agree. Dalton Schultz is a beast. I feel like he's going to do well, especially with good quarterback.
Yep.
Yeah, that moves us into our sit-ems for tight ends. So again, as always, we each have 2. I'll start off with Cade, and then you always help me with this last name. Otan?
Otten.
Otten, yeah, okay. Cotton without the C. Got it.
I mean, the C's right there. You just got to move it over.
Oh my God, it is. Cotton. Oh, good Lord. Cotton. Yeah, I'm sitting Cotton. So why am I sitting him? Because the last 2 games, he's had a total of 3 targets.
Yep.
He's just unused. Baker does not throw to the tight end. Even when he was in Cleveland, he did not throw to the tight end.
No.
Tight ends values were extremely low and always have been with every team he's played on. I mean, it's just don't play him. No. I mean, he doesn't check down. Baker will throw the ball away before he checks down. So don't start Cade if you're in the championship. And if you're in the championship and have Cade, how the hell did you get there? So there you go.
Pickups. Yeah, and the Saints are pretty good when it comes to the tight ends as well. So just be aware of that. But yeah. All right, so we'll go with we'll alternate this one. We'll go Dalton Kincaid is one of my sits. I love this man early on in the middle of the season. I mean, he was averaging about 15 fantasy points in 8 straight games. But ever since Dalton Knox came back, they're splitting the time. And let's just say against a terrible Chargers defense, last week he only had 2 targets, guys. 2. And now you're going up against New England, which is a lot better than what the Chargers are defense-wise. And yeah, I'm not seeing any value with them. I mean, this guy, the last 2 games, a total of 1.7 fantasy points. The last 2 games. It's not going to happen again this week. Unfortunately, I hate to have him on my sit-em, but it's just going to have to be. If you have him, sit him, please.
Yep, I agree. Moving into my last sit-em for tight end. Derek was complaining about me giving him people that have hard names to spell. So in natural progression, I gave him Okonkwo for the tight end, for the Titans, for my tight end here for Siddons. Last week he had a good game, 18.3 fantasy points, actually got 7 targets, 63 yards passing, and a touchdown. Good game for him. He's been averaging higher single numbers, which I am okay with from the tight end position, and am happy with. I would be totally happy with going into a playoff game with him. However, he's going up against Houston, a decently healthy Houston team, and I feel like Houston's good. I think they're going to win these last 2 games. I really do. Houston is put together, healthy. They're going to beat and kind of smash, I think, the Titans. That's my opinion.
They need to. Especially if they want to keep their hopes alive now. Like I said, of course, they don't have to win. If they don't want, just read the chest right here. Yep. We need a big game, Colts. Come on. All right.
I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him in the playoffs and winning more games. So.
Yep. See, I was never really a Texans fan, but I don't mind C.J. Stroud. He just changed the game there. I don't know. But all right. Now, Kraft. I'm just gonna say Kraft, okay? Because Musgrave, of course, is not going to be there in that spot, like we've known for a while. But Green Bay is going up against the Minnesota Vikings, and their against tight ends are pretty solid. So Jordan Love is going to be looking elsewhere other than his tight end. He likes looking out towards the perimeter, especially when you have Dobbs, or as Doc likes to say, Doobie. And Reed is actually going to be playing. Yeah, and Jaden Reed is back into the lineup again against the Vikings, so he's going to be another big target for him. I just don't see a lot of value coming from Croft. Unfortunately, if you do have him, I would probably sit him this week, just due to the fact that I don't see a lot of value out of him at all this week. So, if you have Kraft, find someone else, because he's not going to give you much. I don't think this week. I mean, he's averaging 4.1 fantasy points. Now, I know he has decent games. I mean, the last 3 games he did have double-digit scoring. I mean, he got 10.4, 15.7, and 10.1, but he is very touchdown dependent. Against a Minnesota team, I just don't see him getting 60 plus yards like he has the last 3 games. So
correct.
This one is a must sit. I would think there's a lot more better tight ends out there for you guys than Kraft.
Correct.
Yeah, that's all of them, correct? Yeah, I think that's it.
Yes.
But yeah, if you guys have any other questions while you're watching the video or after, vice versa, we will gladly answer. I know games start here in just under an hour. But we will now go into our NFL Week 17 pick'ems. So here we go. The schedule is up. The first game is a good one. The 11-4 Dolphins at the 12-3 Ravens. Who do you have, Newport?
Give me Ravens.
Ravens.
I think they'll pull it out. I think they're the better team. I think A-Chan will have a big game. I think it'll be a high-scoring game, in my opinion. It's the one to watch for me. It's the big game, in my opinion, of the week. It's the one that I want to watch. So,
yes, and I'd agree with that. I feel like the Ravens should win this game, especially with Waddle being out. They'd have one less guy to worry about in the passing game. So I'm going to go with the Ravens as well. I think Lamar should be able to get out of the pocket and explore his options down the field this game. But yeah, hopefully it's close, though, because I do want to see a good game.
Yes.
I was kind of disappointed with the Ravens and 49ers last week because I was thinking it was going to be close, and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, 4-11 Patriots at the hot 9-6 Bills.
Yeah, give me the Bills.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bills, too. The only thing is, with the Bills, I know they're a very hot team right now. It's just, I feel like the Patriots always give them like a hard game.
Yeah, they do.
Like, actually, they beat them earlier on in the year.
Yeah,
Like
well,
Patriots.
the Patriots do play. They're one of those teams that are hard to play. They are. And so the Bills could drop it. But again, Bills are a different team. Bills are a different team than when they started.
And it's a must-win for the Bills, too.
It is. They have to win this.
So there's a lot of situations out there where teams, if they don't win, they're done for this week. So
Agreed.
7-8 Falcons at the 6-9 Bears. Who you got?
Bears. It's at home. At home, Bears. Falcons play bad away. Give me Bears, and they're on a roll. Too. I feel like. I think they're playing well.
I feel like everyone in Chicago is taking a deep breath now because they've won 6 games this year.
Yeah, big year for them. Big year.
I know. Yeah, celebration. All right, 6 or sorry, not 6. Is that 5 and 10? 5 and 10 Titans at 8 and 7 Texans. We've already kind of gone through this, but yeah.
Give me Texans. That's easy.
I'm going Texans as well. That's just going to be too much. I think Levis is back in the lineup this week. But yeah, I think the Texans should easily win this game. If they don't, I'm all right with it. But at the same time, they should win it. And now, the biggest game of the week: 7-8 Raiders at the 8-7 Colts. Who you got?
I think this is closer.
I won't be hurt.
I think this is closer. I'm going to go Colts. I'm going to go Colts for the reason that the Raiders won last week against the Chiefs with only 60 passing yards.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're putting up sustainable numbers to win.
Correct.
So give me the Colts.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you said that because that makes me feel a little bit better now. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go Colts just because they better freaking win. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
I don't want to get it to another point where how it was it 2 years ago when we needed to beat the Raiders and then we needed to beat Jacksonville. All we had to do was win one of those games. We lost them both.
Yeah.
And that beyond, I was livid. And I don't want it to be another case, especially with how hard the Colts have worked to get into this spot right now with backup quarterback, backup running back throughout majority of the year, backup cornerbacks majority of the year. I mean, we've been hurting all year. So to be 8-7, I am, as a fan, am very surprised. And I know everyone else around the league is too. And please be 9-7 after today. Please. Oh, man. All right. 2-13 Panthers, man, they are on fire. At the 8-7 Jaguars.
Jags, easy. Even without Lawrence, give me Jags.
Jags as well. I see a lot of these games being the exact same answers. 9-7 or 8-7 Rams, or is that 6-7? I can't read. There you go. 8-7 Rams at the 5-10 Giants.
Rams easy. They're healthy.
Yep. Like I said early on in the show, Rams are one of the hottest teams right now in the NFL. It's going to be scary to play against them in the playoffs because, yes, they will be making the playoffs because they will win this game.
Which is surprising. If you watched them at the beginning of the year, you thought it was dead. You thought the whole season was dead for them, and somehow they're back. I mean, it's and Kyron Williams is a big addition to that, and I am super happy that he's doing well because when he was in college, obviously being a Notre Dame fan, like I knew he was good, but everyone else looked over him, and he was one of the best running backs in college football. And now he's one of the best in the NFL. So
I think that was probably the fantasy steal of the year, honestly, with Williams. I mean, he's averaging, I think he's number 2 running back in fantasy right now?
Yeah, him, Puka Nacua. I mean, there's a certain list of people that were just crazy.
Yep. And then we have the 3-12 Arizona Cardinals at the 11-4 Eagles. I'm not going to think about this too hard. I'm going to go Eagles.
Yep. That's it.
Yep. 7-8 Saints, which is a must-win for. Actually, this is a big game. This is coming down to the division right here. 7-8 Saints and the 8-7 Buccaneers.
Who you got?
I'm gonna go Buccaneers. I think they can do it.
Me too.
I think Derek Carr will have a great game. Going up against one of the worst secondaries in the league. I still think he will show out. If you need a quarterback, that's one guy that I still stick to it as I did a couple of weeks ago. He should give you good value. It's also his Rashid is the wide receiver, right?
Yeah, Shaheed.
Shaheed. That's right, Shaheed. And I feel like he can have a breakout game as well with the long ball, with that speed. But yeah, I'm gonna go Buccaneers though. Still, I think Baker is just on fire right now, which is weird to say, but I feel happy for the man. It's been a long time coming for him.
Yeah, I am not going to bet on the Saints anymore.
Nope.
They lose close games, and give me Bucks. I think Baker Mayfield is comeback player of the year, hands down. Oh,
absolutely. If you don't win it, something's wrong. And then you got the 11-4 49ers versus the 4-11 Commanders. I'm going to go 49ers. That's
49ers.
Yep.
Yeah. Best team versus the worst team. So.
Yep. At 4:05, those are all the 1:00 games, by the way. That's a lot. The 4:05, the 8-7 Steelers at the 8-7 Seahawks. Big game for both teams. Playoff hopes are on the line. I am going with the Seahawks. I think back-to-back weeks, I just feel like they've had some close matchups with the Eagles. They came out and beat them on the last drive with Drew, and then literally the next week after with the Titans, they come down in the last second drive again. They get in the end zone with Geno Smith throwing that one this time. This team, I think right now, they know they need to win, and they're going to win. I just feel the Steelers are just not that team this year. They were good in the beginning of the year, but I don't know how they were with how bad. I mean, guys, just so you're aware, I know Kenny Pickett's been injured for, 2-3 weeks? Joe Flacco has as many touchdown passes as Kenny Pickett did his entire career in just 4 or 5 games. Yeah. Steelers aren't it. They were in the beginning of the year, and I think they're on their downfall now.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
5-10. Yep.
Go ahead.
Okay. 5-10 Chargers at the 7-8 Broncos. Big game for the Broncos as well. I'll let you pick this one.
This is tough, man. Both going in with not starting QBs.
Yep. Got him stumped. Who's he gonna pick? I know my lock.
I want to hear what you have to say.
You first. Come on.
I think I'm gonna take the Broncos.
Broncos as well.
Yeah, the Chargers have too many people out. Keenan Allen, Palmer.
Yep.
The only option to throw to is Quentin Johnson. I'd rather have the Broncos.
I have a feeling. I believe Sutton's out too. I have a feeling that it's going to be a running attack. Whoever runs the ball the best between these two teams will win. They're both terrible defenses against the run, and it will be a battle on the run game. And I think the Broncos will come out on top.
Mm-hmm.
Big game right here. 8-7 Bengals at the 9-6 Chiefs.
I'm gonna take the Chiefs. I think they're struggling, but at home at Arrowhead, I think he's gonna have a big game actually.
A must win for sure, and I would definitely pick the Chiefs on this as well. As much as I want it to be an upset, I just don't see it happening. They might be close, but it's not going to turn out that way for the Bengals, unfortunately. I think it's coming to an end now where it's just not going to be their season anymore.
Correct.
And then the night game for tonight is the 7-8 Packers versus the 7-8 Vikings. Another big game.
Who you got?
I'm gonna go Packers.
God damn it. Yes, I wanted the Packers too. A full, complete slate of exact same picks.
I think this is a record. I don't think this is
first time before. First time it's happened.
I'm trying to find the. Oh, real quick. Did you want to do the injury report real quick?
Just a couple notables, really.
Okay, I sent you. I didn't know if you saw the message I did send you through text. I got some updates as well. So.
Okay. Yeah, we can add those in for sure. So some big actives we have today. Zay Flowers for the Ravens. Puka's in for the Rams. Again, you already talked about Michael Pittman. That was breaking news. Cole Kmet, big for the Bears.
Huge.
Again, plays into the fact that I think the Bears are going to win that game because he's one of the best tight ends. Again, product of Notre Dame.
Yes, sir.
And then Kyler Murray also active today. Some notable inactives, Hunter Henry for the Patriots, so they're really going to be bad if they weren't already. Von Miller, Josh Jacobs. So if you have, what's his name, White, Zadir White.
Yep.
Play him. He got 140-some yards last week.
And it's going against a Colts run defense that's not that hot.
Jacoby Brissett, inactive. Just came in, correct?
I did not see that.
Wow.
Interesting.
Okay.
Well, that changes things.
That does change things. So Jacoby Brissett looks like he's inactive today. So I guess Sam Howell will be in. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, and then some other big ones. Keenan Allen out. So if you made it to the championship with him, sorry. Out. What was the other ones we had? Trevor Lawrence, as we
Trevor
said.
Lawrence, yep.
Trevor Lawrence is
Palmer.
out, and then there was a third one.
Palmer.
Raheem Mostert. And
yeah. Yep.
Raheem Mostert out. So start Achane if you have him on your team.
Yep.
But that's pretty much the big ones.
There is a thing I was going to find, but I can't find it, so I do apologize. That was given the teams that could be eliminated this week if they would lose. Found it. Never mind. All right. So the teams that can be eliminated this week if they lose is the Denver Broncos, the Bears, the Saints, Packers, Falcons, and this is why the Packers and Vikings game is so big, because the Vikings, whoever loses that game is out of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Between the Vikings and the Packers. The Falcons and the Bears, whoever loses is out of the playoffs. Saints, if they lose against the Buccaneers, they're out of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. If the Raiders lose against the Colts, they're out of the playoffs. Bengals, like I said, it's their playoff game. They have to win against the Chiefs or they're out of the playoffs. Steelers, they're out if they don't win. And Texans, if they lose, they are out. And if the Colts win, of course. But yeah, the Colts have to win. But yeah. Those are notable games to kind of look at as well. But other than that, I'm excited to see Baker Mayfield today and see what he does.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game.
Yep. By the way, Baker Mayfield, when he's targeting the end zone this year, guys, he has 16 touchdowns and 0 interceptions.
Dang.
That is a stat to have.
It is. That really is.
It's a great stat to have. Other than that, I don't see us having any other questions or anything, but if you guys have any questions, if you guys are still watching, I know the games are about to start, put them in the chat, but other than that, the chat has been pretty nothing today, actually. Wow.
Yeah.
Must have scared everyone off. Must have scared everyone off last week when I didn't answer any questions.
That's what it was.
But no, other than that, guys, we will have one more week of this, and then we will move on to our NBA shows as fantasy football is wrapping up. It's crazy to think. Unfortunately, we didn't start since in the beginning, but we definitely will next time around.
And we are planning a end of the year show as well after the fantasy season is concluded, where we'll kind of just wrap up things that happened during the fantasy season. Yep. Some notable amazing grabs and some really sad first rounders that didn't pan out. So we'll have a whole show put together for you guys with that as well.
And as well as one of our sleepers that we think will be great for next year.
There you go.
Have good upside for next year. Let's see. But other than that, guys, we will catch you guys later. And until then, guys, if you don't have any other questions, we'll give you 30 seconds in the chat to ask any questions that you guys have. And yes, we do have the chat on this time. I do see 2 viewers, so I don't know if anyone else is watching. But if you have any questions, we will wait for about 30 seconds since there's a slight delay, I'm assuming. But other than that, yeah. Newport, you going to win your fantasy championship this weekend?
Yeah, Tristan's butt. So I will be destroying the poor family this weekend.
Oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did. The poor family. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. Look at that.
Thank you.
Just come with that on the spot, and you didn't even know about it until you said it.
No, what do you mean? I the one that said it.
All right. I don't see any other questions. And of course, this one question will come in probably right when I get ready to turn it off. But other than that, guys, we'll catch you guys on the flippity flop. We'll see you guys on the waiver wire show on Tuesday. Until then, deuces, y'all.
Peace.